Easus Peez-us.
Easus Peez-us. I can take those. David,
Easus Peez-us. Give me the cheeses.
Nothing else I can say is going to top that. We have to end now.
You threw me off, Chase. You
Why?
did 3, 2, 1, and not 1, 2, 3. You usually do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But today you did 3, 2, 1, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it.
It's June 6th. It's the first time we're recording. June usually feels like summer to me, and I kind of wanted to switch it up. I wanted to make the transition into the warmer months. I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. It's a different kind of podcast.
Whoa. This is a hot cast right now.
It's built different than the rest of them. As I've said before, I kind of enjoy recording in the heat in my sort of hot room. That
the summer spirit of Podtimism is coming to talk to you.
Yeah, it's very easy for the summer spirit to come hang out with me. It feels challenging to record in that circumstance. I feel like it pushes the comedy and the gaming takes out of me. I feel like I can be really podtimistic when it's really hot.
Gotcha. Okay. It just really makes you look for the good. Look for the good in things.
Yeah, and apparently count from 1, 2, 3 instead of 3, 2, 1, or whichever one I normally do. David,
you said 3, 2, 1. You didn't really do 1, 2, 3, go.
Well,
like you're starting a band. Whereas today it was more like we were doing a shuttle liftoff.
A launch.
We were launching a shuttle, and it's a totally different vibe. Yeah, I'm going to be thrown off for the whole episode, is what I'm saying.
I'm going to be trying to orbit the Earth.
I'm going to be trying to get in a geostationary orbit.
Yeah, I like that. Listen, I like sci-fi.
It's true. We are now doing the hard sci-fi cast today.
It's sci-fi month. We're going to be talking about nothing but sci-fi. That's not true, actually. I don't want to promise what I can't deliver.
That was quite a proclamation.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe we can do like a sci-fi day. Video game Podtimism's top 7 science fiction games.
Why 7? We don't know, but it's more than 5 and less than 10.
Number 1. Burger King Space Foot Lettuce. I have to say the name of the podcast before we get too far down this rabbit hole. Hello, it's Video Game Podtimism, the Optimists video game variety show, where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming in the summer heat.
In the summer heat, it is. I'm in the pod chamber currently, and it is spicy in here. It is warm.
It's finally
it is humid. Up. I am breathing my own words right now. It's a little intense. But we will persist.
Nevertheless, they recorded a podcast. Oh, it's terrible. My name is Chase.
My name is David.
That's what we're gonna do. Talk about video games. It's gonna be cool and
hip
and fun. Hey, David. Have you been playing video games?
I have been.
Could you tell me about that one? Are you still just on the one?
It's still just Elden Ring.
Yeah.
It's still just Elden Ring.
What can we say that hasn't already been said by us?
I feel like I'm getting closer to the end.
Yeah, sure. What are you doing in the game right now?
Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't beaten Elden Ring yet. But I just beat Malekith, the Black Blade.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, you are getting close. In
crumbling Farum Azula.
You are getting quite close. Yeah,
that dragon city, dude. That was crazy. I loved the art direction on that part of the game, because it really captured the uneasy feeling of like Twilight that I don't think I've ever really experienced in a game. Just like the light is very low. It's like gets in your eyes a lot.
Yeah.
Everything is very washed out, like gray. It's just like tones of gray.
Yeah.
Which is very different than the rest of the game, which is pretty vibrant.
Vibrant, yeah.
But yeah, that area was just gray and bright, and just like I had to turn down the brightness on my TV because it was like hurting my eyes. I was like, wow. But I don't think I've ever experienced Twilight in a game like that. Not even in Twilight Princess.
Wow.
If I do say so myself. At least, just with the technology, with the HDR technology,
Yeah.
It just is. It's easier to get that kind of contrast, the intensity of the contrast that you need to convey that. And I thought that was really cool.
It is neat. I really like how you're right about the tone there being kind of like unsettling in a way.
Mm-hmm. I think it just puts people on edge, Twilight.
Yeah.
Because it's that I learned this from, what was that, Reign of Fire, that Matthew McConaughey movie.
Whoa, yeah, deep
with the dragons.
Yep.
That dusk is when we are our most vulnerable. Dusk and twilight.
Interesting.
Because we are either good at dark seeing or light seeing, but not that kind of in-between space.
Mm-hmm.
So it naturally puts us on edge.
It totally was like sort of this bizarre place because the music is also like not really present. I mean, there's very little music outside of like boss battles anyway, but it was very quiet, and there's like tornadoes next to you, which is
you
nuts.
Hear the tornadoes
just a little though. It's quieter than I would expect them to be, and so it's still very like disconcerting to see these like huge giant like violent pieces of Mother Nature, and it's like not that loud, like it's just kind of spinning in the middle, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
They're very respectful NATOs, you know. They turn down the volume, make sure that their neighbors are okay, you know.
That's a nice NATO.
It's a nice NATO.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So I beat Malekith.
Yeah.
He gave me some trouble. Yeah, he was a real bastard, actually, if I'm not gonna mince my words. He was a real bastard, and the guy, the dragon tree sentinel, the draconic tree sentinel before him, was also a real bastard.
Yeah, that was a tough fight.
So that was, you know, in a way, it sounds very masochistic, but I'm like, yeah, this is what I want from this game. I just want to like bang my head against a wall a little bit and just get mad a little bit at the game.
Interesting, yeah.
But then it's just because I know that the more like upset I get when I get really close to beating him, but then don't, it just makes it so much sweeter when I actually do succeed.
Sure, yeah.
So that's I find I really got that good little piece of FromSoft nectar from this boss battle from Malekith. So that was great. And then I went to Lane-Del, and my expert my pro gamer instincts were tingling. I'm like, the end of the game is near.
That's true.
It is near.
Yeah.
So I went back and started doing all these other small quests and places that I wanted to like just finish up.
Yeah.
So I went and beat Mogwin,
the Lord of Blood.
Lord of Blood. That was a tight fight.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That was very cool.
A tough one too. That was a hard fight.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like over leveled at this point. I think that's possible. What it is, because I've been doing a lot of side stuff. Maybe my mimic tier is too strong, but I just beat him one go.
Damn. So I had the opposite experience that you're talking about.
You might have done him way earlier in the game, I think, because I'm doing him almost near the end. Whereas I feel like you went to VIII and like used that area that you get to go to for a lot of farming, like ruin farming.
Yeah.
I never did that.
I feel like we may be brushing up against either different playstyles or builds, because I didn't have a lot of trouble with Malekith. I think I did him in like 2 or 3 tries, but I had a ton of issues with Moog. So I don't like, I think it was like that, the move that he does after you do a certain amount of damage to Moog, where he like starts taking chunks of your health or whatever away, that for whatever reason really like started to mess me up. It's like he would hit me with all those. I'd have like maybe a second to recover, and then he would just like throw a bunch of blood on me and be like almost dead. Yeah. But yeah, interesting. I don't know.
Malekith got me for a similar reason, but like the Black Blade would make you slowly lose health, and I had to like bring out that other item to make that stop.
Right.
And then heal. And then he would hit me again. And it was just like this cycle of me trying to just run away from him so I can get back to a respectable level of health.
Yeah.
Before I felt comfortable attacking him again.
I think I just got lucky, because I don't think I really ran into that mechanic, the like health draining thing.
Really?
I think I was using the Mimic tier at the time, and so I think like maybe my dude was just like doing a lot of work.
Maybe. My Mimic tier is kind of dumb sometimes.
Yeah, you do kind of have to corral them a little bit.
This is not the time to use a volcanic pot, man. Like, you just missed him, and now he took like half your health just right there.
Yeah, I had to take a lot of my Mimic tier's items away so they wouldn't like
that's fuck it up too much.
Yeah.
This is why we can't have nice things, okay, bud? Yeah. You gotta take them away.
You don't need this bow and arrow. That is not what we need to be using right now.
Exactly. So I did that. It seems to want to make me go find the 3 fingers. I kind of don't want to, because that platforming part is so
it's hard.
It's just not fun. It's just not fun. And maybe it's cool to go see the 3 fingers. Like I went down there beforehand.
Yeah.
Before like the Lane-Del became all ashy.
Right.
When I got to that part, I'm just like, nope, I'm good. Like this is just difficult for the sake of being annoying.
If you do go find them, I think you get one of the endings that I think is canonically considered the bad ending if you get down in there deep enough.
Okay, so maybe I won't anyways. Because Melina even was like, "Don't go visit him, dude. Don't do it.
Yeah.
What are you doing?" So okay, maybe I'll just let him be. But I went up. I beat Godfrey first try.
Wow, David, big baller. Let's just real quick. We can pitch down a few of these. With your
natural gamer instinct. First try.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah, I'm going to love that one.
So that felt good. But then I went to go face Radigan. I beat Radigan, but the Elden Beast got me. So I'm at the Elden Beast now.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, you're there, David. That's You're there. The Elden Beast took me a little while. I really had to like push against that one. Because yeah, Radigan like wasn't too bad.
No.
You kind of figure out the patterns and you're like, all right, I can work this one out.
So should I do anything else before I beat this guy? Is he like the last boss?
He is the end of the game. That is correct.
I still haven't gotten that last bit of the map yet.
Hallig Tree, I'm assuming.
Is that the Hallig Tree?
I can tell you how to get there if you want to know how to do that.
I gotta know. I gotta know before I beat the Elden Beast. Because I'm guessing that's where Melania is, and she's supposed to be the hardest, isn't she?
Yes, it's very bizarre. I think like Elden Ring is doing this whole thing where they're teaching you how to play their game for their whole game, and then fucking Melania comes in and she's like, I'm actually like a samurai swordsman monster, and like I'm gonna move really, really fast, and that's gonna be a new thing.
It's kind of like the opposite of what they did with Sekiro, where the whole game you were fighting samurai, and then you fight the demon of hatred or whatever he was, and he was a Dark Souls boss. You're like, what the fuck do I do here?
Pretty much, like you have to compensate for how she plays like quite a bit, and it took me a long time. I had to essentially figure out how to like stun lock her with my mimic tier, because when she hits you, she recovers health. So like you cannot let her attack your mimic tier because it'll just like boost her health right back up. Yeah, and she's got like 2 whole phases that are just it's brutal. But any other Elden Ring feelings?
It's a good game.
It's a good game. I'm interested to see what you think of it once you're kind of like finished up with it and are done.
I'm almost there.
Yeah, it sounds like you're almost there.
This is a game that I'm like, once I beat this, I'm gonna get in that wiki.
Yeah, no, it's worth it. There's a lot of good
deep
stuff
into that wiki, because I know a little bit of like who these people are just from like reading the descriptions of some of the items, but I don't know what's going on. What have you been playing, Chase?
I've been playing some video games. I have 2 quick updates on games that I've already been playing, and then 1 newer one. One, I have beaten Hardspace Shipbreaker. I beat it in the time between last week when our recording got dumped on Monday and then we recorded again on Tuesday. I had beaten it between them, but wasn't about to be like addendum to the first part of the podcast. But it's quite good. I really like the way that it ended. Like I was saying, I was really worried that it was going to be like kind of a bummer and like sort of a downer of a game. And like, you know, it accurately represents some things that are pretty dark, but like the ending of it is satisfying both like from a story perspective and mechanically. Like I think they do the last level of this, like, or not the last level, but like the conclusion of the story pretty well, where like you have to use the mechanics that you have been doing the whole time to sort of like do something else. I won't ruin it, but it's interesting. I was really satisfied with that, and then got like, I'm assuming is like just another ending where you can like fix up a ship and like leave, which I also thought was pretty good. I think it was like not the narrative ending of the other one, so like it, you know, it was just kind of interesting to get there, which was fun. But yeah, I like, again, I've said this in the other episodes, but I think it's just like an astounding video game. It does a lot of things in the simulator genre that I'm really happy that somebody is doing. As I've said before, I don't see a lot of simulation games really saying a lot, and that's okay, because I think inherently, being that it is a simulation game, you're there for the mechanics, and like that that's not a bad thing. I don't think that's like, you know, wrong to not approach something with a certain amount of like story appreciation. But I've always found that was sort of a bizarre trend in the simulation genre. Like why don't we say something? Like this genre is very uniquely situated, especially to tell stories about like structural power and work, and
most definitely.
And so like it's I'm glad that somebody did it, is the moral of that story.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Has that story ever been told through a game before? Let's unionize. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't, if there has been one, I've either not played it or it has not been quite as effective. I think that the game puts you so squarely in the worker's shoes, because you are literally doing the work, that it's compelling when somebody says like, we should get rid of these fees and like the debt that this company has burdened you with, because you see it every day. The game reminds you constantly about like, here's how many profits you made when you broke this ship yesterday, and here's how much your debt is, and it's just like so small. Like you're
feels
making
like student loans, baby.
Very much, and I'm sure that's on purpose, right? Like they're talking about debt and how crippling that can be. So like, I don't think that there has been a game that's like said this quite as well, which is cool. Like it's hard to do, to say something, you know, that hasn't already be kind of covered. Yeah, it's not the like deep character study that a lot of other like wild story told games are, but I think it is interesting, and it is really novel. So I'm into it for that reason. I've also still been playing Dragon Quest VIII. I continue to love this game. It is really, really enjoyable. I talked about this last week that I was just getting into it, and this is the first Dragon Quest game, mainline Dragon Quest game, that I'm like really clicking with. And I think largely that is just because it has stripped away a lot of the, not the excess, but there's just a lot of Dragon Quest XI,
sure,
the most recent one.
You're just a lot, Dragon Quest. You're just a lot.
Whereas 8 is kind of like not minimal, but it is a little bit more reserved than Dragon Quest XI, and I really appreciate that because I'm able to see the parts of that game that people love very clearly. Like I don't have to like search for what makes this series really good. You know, it's totally possible that somebody plays 11 and they're immediately hit in the face with what makes that series good. But I think for my personal playstyle, I had to play this one to really appreciate like what Dragon Quest is doing. It's just good, man. Yangus is really good. I've got I grow to love King Trode more and more every day. The little like goblin guy that you're following around. Goblin. I've now got 4 people in my party. I've got Jessica, and I recently got Angelo.
Angelo. He evolved into D'Angelo.
Oh wow! I hope so.
Sexy.
I hope that that's the end of this storyline.
That'd be great. How does it feel?
Yeah, I hope that that's how the story concludes.
It's always D'Angelo, whether it's Red Dead Redemption 2 or any other game. It's always D'Angelo.
It's always D'Angelo. Another tempting title.
It's always D'Angelo. Actually, every single episode of Scooby-Doo when you were a kid that took the mask off.
It's always D'Angelo.
It's always D'Angelo.
What's fucked up is D'Angelo was also like most of the Mystery Machine members. What is the name of Scooby-Doo's squad?
I don't know. The Scooby-Doo squad?
The Scooby-Doobers?
Delangelo?
This game is still quite good. I like Angelo. He's very cool. All the characters are just very different, brush up against each other in fun ways. Like it's not like a total harmonious group all the time, which is really fun to like have such clear characters and have them interacting in ways that are like hilarious. Like you'll be in a scene and something will happen and I'm just like, I know Yangus is about to come up here and make a mess of this scene. I'm really excited for that. And sure enough, he does. It's just great.
Yangus, I just picture as, what was it, Angus Lee?
From AC/DC.
Yeah. With his like little short schoolboy shorts.
There's like parts of that is correct, but I'd say his form is pretty different than Angus.
His form is different.
Anyway, I'm still really enjoying it. I don't have a ton of new thoughts just because the story is kind of like we're getting to plot beats that I think are interesting and fun, but it's kind of just continuing to move forward, which is it's great. It's a really good game. Again, it's very episodic. I really like that about it. You like I showed up to this town and everybody in it was kind of like sort of on edge. And I was like, is there something wrong in this town? Especially after having played Tales of Arise, where like that exact plot beat shows up and things are actually quite bad. But you show up to this town and like everybody's bummed out and sad. And you go up and talk to the people who work for the king. And they're like, yeah, the whole town's been in mourning since the king's wife died 2 years ago.
Whoa.
Oh shit. Like this has been going on for a while.
It's a long morning.
It's a long time. And you show up at nighttime because one of the like maids says like, well, if you show up at nighttime, he's usually down here if you want to like try and talk to him. And so you sure enough show back up and he's just like hunched over the throne of the throne room. And he's just like begging his like wife to come back. Like, please, like I can't do this without you. Like all this shit.
Did they not have therapy back then?
I don't think so. Oh, but actually that kind of is how you solve the problem. You like go talk to this like magician who's like, I can have the king, I can't bring back his dead wife, but I can have him remember some like interactions that he had with her. And so you bring back like this, I guess, wizard. And it goes through this whole scene of like the king remembering these like interactions he had with his wife where she's like, you know, I lost my mom when I was super young, but I chose to like live a full life because I was living in her honor. All this sort of stuff. And it was incredible. It was like pretty touching and like really good. Wow. Despite like being told in like
mind wizard therapist.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool. Like it's all told in this like kind of bright and happy-go-lucky sort of
Dragon
visual
Quest
style. Yeah, but like that's pretty heavy when you like say it out loud.
Totally.
And so it was just really, it's always surprising to hit these beats and be like, actually that was pretty effective. Like I'm surprised that was as effective as it was. It's a good video game. I'm not surprised that this is on people's like best of list.
Awesome.
The third and final game that I'm playing, David.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game called Divinity Original Sin 2.
Whoa! Yeah, you were texting me about this the other day. I love it.
It's time. I'm giving it one more college try, David.
What are you playing it on?
I'm playing it on the Steam Deck because I thought that might be the easiest place for me to really get in and play this game a little bit, because I just usually don't want to play games on my computer. I work at this thing. I don't want to play
That's
here
real.
too.
Get me away from my workstation. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I never want to sit down and play something, but I was kind of browsing around the Steam store the other day because I was thinking about how much I liked playing Wasteland 3, the CRPG that I played probably 2 years ago.
You were talking about that one.
Yeah. And I really liked that game. I liked that game a lot. And I liked it for the RPG reasons. I liked being able to approach a problem from like 100 different ways and figure out the one that like makes sense for the team that I have. And I was poking around the store and just like every time I was like, I should just play Divinity. Like that is exactly the thing that I'm hunting for. I've tried it so many times, David. I've tried it so many times. I've tried to play Divinity on the PC twice. I have tried to play it on the Switch twice. And I have watched streams of it just in hopes of like
figuring it out.
Yeah, figuring it out, because for people who haven't played this game, it's like another CRPG, which I think stands for computer RPG. It's a very nondescript way of saying the kind of RPG that is like Baldur's Gate or Fallout from way back when.
Original Fallout.
Yeah, like Fallout 1 and 2, where it's like this isometric view of the world, and a lot of the way that you interact with this world is through these skills that you have, like to the nth degree, right? Like if you have a good hacking skill.
It's closer to Dungeons and Dragons underneath the hood. It's like computerized Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, like conceptually you should be able to think of a solution to a problem and then do that.
Yeah.
It's not always the case, but like
it gets pretty close.
Yeah, it gets pretty close. Like if you're like, I bet if I could just light this thing on fire and then use my persuasion to tell the person like, we all need to get out of here, then like that might work, right? Which is great. And I really like that about Wasteland. And so I was like, I gotta do this. So what pushed me over the edge was that I had a Steam cloud save, and I was like, okay, I can at least boot that up and skip the first like 2 hours of the game, because the first like couple hours is in this place called Fort Joy, where you like get taken prisoner, and the game is pretty locked down. Like you can do kind of whatever.
You can't do
in
a
there.
lot of stuff yet.
Right. Like the things that I hear people espouse about Divinity aren't really in Fort Joy. It's a little bit there because it's trying to teach you how to play the game, but it's like not overwhelming. And so like every time I get in there, I'm like, God, do I really have to do this thing again? But I got lucky in that I didn't have to do the very beginning. However, there was yet another roadblock. I always get to the section right after you like can go underground in Fort Joy, and you go past these little lava monsters that I've both talked past and fought past before. And there's like this section.
Done it all.
I've done it all. There's this section where you come to a locked door and you need a key. And off to your right, there's a group of dudes that you can fight. My presumption at the time was like, I bet one of them have the key, which I suspect is true. However, after 5, I believe, attempts at doing this fight over many, many playthroughs, I have discovered I can just go grab the key off of a chair and I don't have to fight the boys. Which I did. And immediately...
Were they kicking your ass?
I've never won that fight. Not once. I have tried it so many times on so many different consoles, on a bunch of different builds with a bunch of different characters. I always lose. And so like, I just couldn't do it. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna fight him. And so I go through and immediately get to new content. Never seen this stuff before. And immediately it's very good. I was like, just so thankful. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm seeing new stuff. After let me check Steam real quick.
Yeah, how many times have you started and stopped this game?
I've played the game for 20 hours, David.
Oh, damn.
And I am not out of Fort Joy. Like,
oh, that's brutal.
So you can do the math on how long I've spent spinning my wheels.
This is a beefy game too. You've got like 90% of the game after Fort Joy.
Yeah, and I'm not even off the island yet. Like I got out of the like castle area, and so I'm kind of fucking around and just
like 95% of the game still. If you're out of the prison, but you're still on the island, you still got a ways to go, my guy.
That's what I suspected, and like that's what I was hoping for. Like I want the world to open up, and I can just kind of do whatever.
It really does get so much better after Fort Joy. Fort Joy is very much like, here's how you do it. Here's how you do all the different skill trees and level up and equip things and get different characters, and like you can go around and like bring all the different characters into your party, whoever you want, right? Yeah. It's very much is kind of more just as if the first bit is like character creation, this is like party creation is Fort Joy to kind of like mix and match and see who you want to be on your team. But yeah, once you're out of there and like more into the wild, then it really just takes the reins off and lets you just do what you want. But you can still get yourself into some hairy situations. So just don't go and do everything all willy-nilly. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful in this game.
Yeah, and like I think that's what has been stopping me from getting any farther, is just that the combat has eluded me so much. Again, every time that I've played this, I've won maybe 1 or 2 fights. I don't know if like I'm just doing it wrong, but like I texted you a couple of, it may have been last night.
I think it was yesterday.
I was like, how do I fight, David? What am I doing? And you had gracefully mentioned that there are some difficulty options, which I immediately booted down to Explorer mode.
Yeah.
Which is, it gives you more health and it takes down the health of the enemies a little bit, which I will say has helped a little. I'm still getting my ass mostly kicked. So
I'm so curious.
I suspect that I don't have my party line up right, because the Red Prince, I've got him doing most of my damage, by far the majority of my damage. Like I kind of just send him in, do like a stun, and then like slash at somebody, and that's like a lot of somebody's health. I'm like, okay, great. I've got Ifan,
Ifan Bedmezd.
Yes, I've got him with a bow.
That was my boy.
And he does pretty good with a bow.
Okay.
Or a crossbow, rather.
Sure.
So he's doing okay damage. I don't know the name of the elf assassin girl. Sybil?
Yes, Sybil.
I've got her in my party, and she does okay. I think like once I get more gear on her, she'll be kind of kicking ass. However, Fane?
Yes.
Useless.
What?
He's doing nothing, David.
No, dude. No, Fane is a rock star.
I've got him doing pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
Fire magic.
Yeah.
Nothing. He's doing no damage.
What?
Yeah, it sucks.
Makes no sense. He's your glass cannon.
Yes, and he breaks every single fight.
You have to use, I think maybe an issue is that you're using Ifan in the back line. He needs to go up. He needs to go up. He needs to be up there with the Red Prince.
Yeah.
Because Ifan's kind of is a little tanky from what I remember. Sybil, you're going to have to use her very carefully. Like maybe you could even use her to protect Fane in the back line.
Yeah.
So if someone's coming towards Fane, you can use her to sneak up on them and do some sweet assassin damage on the back.
Whenever she takes a lot of damage, I'm like, okay, I get it. That was my bad. I put her in a bad situation. But fucking Fane, man, he just like, he does those little like magic missile fire attacks. Those do no damage.
I'm surprised he's doing no damage, because like I remember Fane definitely died probably the most out of any of our characters.
Yeah.
But like he would rock people. He would rock them. So I'm curious as to what is happening there. Have you been leveling people up?
Yeah, no, all their stats are going up.
I loved Fane. Fane was my guy. Who is your main character? Who are you?
I think I picked Fane, which is fun. I don't want Fane. I like his story. It's really interesting.
Fane's cool. Give him some sweet ass armor, dude. He doesn't need to move much. He's gonna be in the back line anyway. So just like tank him up, give him some good armor, and just blast people from far away.
I sort of just want to change what magic he does, because like I have one complaint so far, other than the combat being hard. Always on fire. I am always poisoned. The ground underneath me is ice, and I slip every single time. And I am always stunned. Like, just fucking constantly.
Yep. That is probably the biggest learning curve of the game, is the terrain. There's always something going on with where you're standing. There's always a counter to it, though. You just have to know it.
Yeah, and I sure don't.
Yeah, so I think like you need rain to get rid of the ice.
I've got rain. Get rid of the ice.
I think so.
Interesting.
Maybe. I forget. No, rain gets rid of the fire.
It gets rid of the fire for sure.
I think fire gets rid of the ice. So if you do like fire blasts on a certain area, that'll get rid of the ice, I think.
Fane has one, but it lights everybody on fire. So then my party's just on fire again.
Yep.
No. No.
You just got to make sure he's hitting people who ain't near your buddy.
But then I kill everybody, David. I'm so squishy. This is such a problem.
I really want to play this game with you.
Yeah.
I want to play this game with you.
See just what flavor of fuck up I am in this game, because something ain't right.
No, you're not fucking up. You're just you need a course correction.
I have not grokked a mechanic, and I'm not sure which one it is yet. Like, something has not clicked with me in this game as far as like understanding how to fight.
You know, maybe Mallory's been jonesing to get back into Divinity and like another playthrough at some point. So maybe.
Can we play cross-platform? Is that a thing?
I mean, you might have to buy it for the PlayStation.
Why not
the PlayStation 4?
Why not a third time through Fourth Joy? A third console.
Don't worry, it'll be nice and quick. It'll be nice and quick with us.
God, dude.
And I think maybe there is a difference in that, like with Mallory and I, we're always discussing what to do and what the best option is. So maybe having someone else to maybe get Emily Alice in there with you.
No shot. She wants to get up in this one. There's just no way.
Not her cup of tea, huh?
Do you want to play D&D but a video game? And the door is already closing.
That makes me very excited, that sentence.
Me too. It's not everybody's
We're going to make this work, Chase. All right? We're going to make this work. If only we lived in the same city, this would not be an issue at all. We would have played through this already.
So getting a little bit back on track, like, I'm really enjoying this game. It definitely scratches the same itch that Wasteland 3 did, in that, like, I will come upon a problem and know quite a few ways to approach it, which is like, it's really fun in that sense. What was the one that I ran into? So again, still on Fort Joy. I don't think those are huge spoilers, but like, you come upon this magister who, in the world of Divinity, is, I think they're people who like hunt magic users, or at least they are at this point in the game. Maybe that changes. I don't know, but that's what they are at Fort Joy. And he's been like wiped out, but him and like most of his squad. And he's got this like fucked up disease, and he is like, don't go in this room. It'll like really fuck you up. Also, can you give me a warrior's death? And I'm like, I don't know. The magisters kind of suck. Like, you guys are kind of like magic cops. I'm going to like maybe see if I can like just cure you. And if not, like whatever. And I kind of leave him there, and I'm like looking at the lever to open up the door. I'm like, man, I'm going to get so blasted if I open this fucking door. I just know that's going to happen. And so I go over and talk to like this rat next to the guy, because I think Ethan has speak with animals, and so I talked to the rat for a while, and which is incredible. I'm like, I could not live without talk to animals in this game.
I love talk. I think that's why I chose him. I'm like, I fucking love talking to the animals. Love talking to dogs. Love talking to all the other like the horses and the cows and stuff. The chickens. Oh man, it's so good.
There is so much interaction. Like, every time I run up on an animal, I'm like, there's no way there's going to be like a whole dialogue tree for this random bird out in the
there sure is.
But there is.
This dog is going to give you a mission, actually. check your inventory, because you have a new key item to use on this quest.
Oh, that's what ended up happening with the rat. She was like, hey, because I listened to all of her stories. I'm like, it sucks. Like, it sounds like you've had kind of a tough rat life. And then she asked me about like my time at Fort Joy, and she's like, listen, that's all really cool. I love swapping stories with you. I have a request. And I'm like, okay, well, what is it? She's like, I'm not going to tell you until like you say that you'll do it. I'm like, okay, little rat, whatever. And she's like, I want to hear more stories about your adventures, dude. And she's like, so as a result, you have to survive. So like, please come back and tell me more stories. Also, I'm going to protect you right now. Don't go touch the switch. It'll give you like very bad poison. I'm like, thank you, rat. Thank you, my little rat friend. Because I was absolutely going to touch it if nothing happened.
Yeah.
Which is great. And she's like, hey, if you ever learn like how to bless something, come back and do that to this thing. Okay. And then lo and behold, about 3 hours later, Bacchus or something.
Bacchus, that's right.
Teaches me how to bless something. It's great. And then I go back and do that. It's just very good. I love that sort of interaction. Not to mention, like, the game, I think, pretty explicitly expects that you're going to do a little bit of save scumming.
Yeah.
Because it's built in with like quick save, right? Like, it's the first thing in the option when you pop up in the menu. And so like, there's so often where I will come up to a situation and I'm like, this is absolutely going to break bad. Let me quick save real quick. Go experiment, see what's happening in there, and probably die, and then try something else.
You know, now that I think back on it, I think there are some like quality of life changes that you can turn on and off in the menu in the beginning.
Yeah.
That are with the like the definitive editions that have come out with the game. Have you gotten to that at all?
I don't remember because I didn't like launch into the beginning, but I feel like there is a lot of stuff that I don't remember being there the first time I played through it that is there now.
Yeah, maybe go check out some of that stuff. It might make at least some of the annoyance of dying in battles a little bit more easy to bear.
I booted it down to the easiest difficulty because I'm like, maybe I'll pump this back up once I'm a little bit more leveled up. But on the easiest difficulty, you have a resurrection spell that you can just use whenever. So like makes it a lot easier.
You got to res a lot, yeah.
You also have, I don't know if this is like an easier item, but you have a little like camping set that Fane just has. Once you're out of battle, you just use that and you're immediately fine, which is a huge, huge help.
Get healed up.
Anyway, so point being what I was saying before, like it turns into this almost choose your own adventure style game where like I can essentially peek into what's going to happen next. I'll do quick save, run into the room that I know is going to probably fuck me up, get fucked up, load the quick save and be like, okay, what else could I do there?
Yeah, how else can I do this?
Like it's just, I think that's a really fun way to approach this game just because there are so many different solutions to anything. And so like it's cool to be able to experiment around with those because again, there's no right way to do it. And so like it's just fun. I love that way of playing this game. And I don't think I did that very much in Wasteland other than saving right before like a combat encounter or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's great. I definitely can see why people like this game. Just still sort of at the beginning part of the game where I'm trying to get through the friction of it so I can get to the real meaty parts of the game. But it's great. It's clearly very good. Anyway, this will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Yes.
It is whenever you have a skill check in a video game and you succeed at the skill check.
Always feels good.
When it's like your persuasion number was high enough and the person's like, okay, I'll let you in the gate. You can come steal from me or whatever. Like any of that shit.
You can steal my livelihood. It's fine.
It's all my gold. You're okay. Or like the sneaking checks where it's like you're disguised as a bush trying to get by someone and you like finally do it. That's all.
So many
good.
times I was a bush and then they spot me and I just immediately am a person again. I'm like, well, I tried.
It's always really satisfying. I loved when they did that in the Fallout games, Wasteland, obviously. And there's a bunch of RPGs that do this, but those are the ones that are like very clear in my mind.
Always good.
Do you have something fueling your sense of optimism, David?
I do, Chase, and it is YOU. It's you, Chase.
What?
You were feeding my sense of optimism.
Why is this, David?
Because I am so joyed by your persistence to try to like this game, Divinity Original Sin 2. I'm so impressed by it. You've tried so many times.
I really want to like it.
You want to like this game so bad. Yeah. And you won't let it not be liked. It's just great. It's amazing. It's persistence. I love it.
It's I think the issue is that I know it's good. I know it's people are always like, this is like some of the best shit.
Once you get to the main continent, like off of the island that Fort Joy is on, it like really opens up, and there's some pretty fun stuff you can do.
And that's what I've heard from everybody. And so like,
and once you get like your source powers. Rockin',
which I just did. I just got my collar.
That really changes a lot too, because those are pretty strong, and they can really save you when you're in a bind.
I've been staring at Ethan's summon a spectral dog for the whole playthrough, and I'm
wolf,
like, come on,
please, a wolf, not a dog. It's a wolf.
Sure, okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, I usually don't do this with games. Usually if I don't like it, I'm like, okay, like that's fine. I don't really mind dropping a game. I don't have a lot of guilt of like playing a game for an hour and being like, that was plenty for me. But this motherfucker just keeps eluding me. And I want to like the video game, David. I can't stop. And I think I finally got there. I think I'm finally in the space where it's good.
Yeah, no, you'll figure it out. And honestly, like I died a lot in this game too.
Yeah.
Mallory saved my ass so many times in this game. So maybe there's something with like our straight up gamer minds that is hard with this game. Whereas someone who is more not so bloodied with the culture can see it more clearly, because she's like, why would she do that? That was dumb.
Mallory's thinking with her like physical real life brain, like we need to not be in the danger space.
I think what it is that she is really role playing. I think that's what you need to do. You really have to role play.
Yeah.
And that really makes a difference.
Sure.
It's a great game.
Yeah. Nice. Well, cool. I'm excited to get the rest of it. Do you want to do our main thing, David?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Hey, it's Good Games.
Hey, we're back.
We're back. It is the section where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them. We're on a bit of what I would consider kind of an actual good game streak.
That's true.
Like
the last
usually,
3 or so have been pretty good.
Pretty good, or at least respectable. Maybe, I don't know. Well, the verdict is still out on Blinks, but I feel like there's been a couple recently that I've been like, that was a pretty good video game.
Blinks is tough. I want to collect everything, and I don't want to be penalized for it.
Yeah, it was just challenging.
I want to collect it all. I am a man who grew up during Pokemon. Collect them all.
Please let me collect. Anyway, we are going to be talking about another what I would consider like pretty actually good game. I also suspect that we might be at the beginning of a GameCube era right now.
The Cube is coming.
The Cube is coming. I realize that we haven't really talked about a lot of GameCube games, and I personally feel like I don't have a lot of exposure to like okay games on GameCube. I feel like I played like the normal sort of classic canon of GameCube games, like the Mario games and the Zelda games and shit, but like I've been looking at these lists and I'm like, I don't know any of this shit. I don't know any of these games. So
I'm ready for it.
Me too.
Quick aside, GameCube.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 remake.
It's
I'm
coming.
So stoked. It's gonna scare me so bad.
Yeah, that game is pretty frightening. I've read that it is also kind of a reimagining, that they're like tweaking some things, which
they made it scarier, essentially, is what I've heard. They're making it less campy, but more scary.
Oh my
more
God.
Serious.
It was already really scary.
That's what I thought, but then everybody online's like, oh, it's so campy and like not scary. Did we play the same game? Am I just a big baby? I could just be a big baby, but who knows? It was quite scary to me.
We were younger when we played that, so like it's possible. And I remember that it was campy, but like the campy parts were not making the parts where you were being chased after by a guy with a chainsaw any less scary.
Yeah, the big fish or the regenerators. Oh God.
Oh my God, the regenerators are fucked. Anyway, so maybe at the beginning of a GameCube section, and we're gonna start with Ikaruga. David, can I hit you with a few hot stats about Ikaruga?
Please, I'm ready to talk about this game.
Hot stats.
So Ikaruga came out April 15th of 2003 for the GameCube. It got Japan release quite a bit earlier. I think almost 2 full years earlier than this. So,
because it was in arcades, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe this was released as an arcade game in Japan before it got the console release. It was also developed by Treasure, the company that we had covered last week. So there's your connective tissue for the week. Mm-hmm. Treasure made Gunstar Hero, McDonald's Treasure Land, Light Crusader, and these games. Among a bunch of games. Like they're pretty prolific in kind of the Genesis era. I do have a review of Ikaruga from Quebec Gamers.
Quebec Gamers?
A new outlet. Jeux Video had a very sparse review for this one. It was like 2 sentences. And I couldn't mangle it quite hard enough.
But we're keeping it French.
We are keeping it French. This review is also in French. I have taken their review and I have churned
Video
it
game
through.
Optimism, keeping it French.
Keeping it French.
That means nothing. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. There's some gold in there somewhere. I've taken their review. I've run it through a bunch of different languages, one into the other, and just mangled it up real nicely for us. I've also come to realize I do these languages, just like translate it into Spanish, flip it, and then translate the Spanish version into German, flip it, translate the German version into something else. And I have found something which I want to call like the Esperanto window or something. Like whenever
Wait, what?
So whenever any of these reviews go through Esperanto, it really fucks them up real bad.
What's Esperanto?
Esperanto is the kind of fictional language that people tried to invent in like the late 90s. It took a lot of languages and put them together. It's mostly like Latin-based languages, and their hope was that they were going to create a universal language, like everybody would speak Esperanto.
Esperanto, artificial language constructed in 1887.
Okay, that was a little bit off.
Zamenhof, a Polish occultist, and intended for use as an international second language.
So I was off by 100 years, but the rest of it was right.
Sorry, I mean you said 90s. But you didn't specify
Wrong
1990s or 1890s.
Oh, man, I love the 90s. Only 90s kids will remember this. Cholera. So, yeah, whenever I move through Esperanto, maybe the Strait of Esperanto, the Gulf of Esperanto,
The straight up Esperanto for sure.
That's usually what makes these reviews so fucked up. So I really always make
the Esperanto window. Have you ever tried putting it through Esperanto and then going through like all those again and then putting it through Esperanto a second time?
I dare not try.
Give it a double Ronto.
The double Ronto. Jesus. So anyway, let me read for you what Quebec gamers had to say about this game. Also, preface, I need to preface this by saying that this feels like some dude's tweets about like rise and grind 80-hour work week sort of shit. So just sort of be prepared for that.
All right.
As long as you need the right mentality to survive, to succeed, you must understand and define your strategy. The rest of the story is about what attracts talented players who have to face Icarus. So the movement and pain of the game is gone, and anyone interested in the mountain will enjoy exploring. Good game control, improving the quality of the channel system. Hua Hua feels in this section. Feel how the waves destroy the opponent. For best results, you need a strong player. 88 out of 100 from Quebec gamers.
That sounded like the Marine copy pasta from the internet.
It did.
Like, that is the same vibe.
What the fuck did you just say to me? Yeah, no, exactly.
Same vibe.
Just nothing. It's just aggressive sentences.
That was one of the more coherent, as far as tone, reviews we've had in quite some time, honestly.
It's true.
I feel like Joe Video is kind of like slam poetry, but this was just straight down your throat. Fuck you, get good or die trying. Rise and grind, baby.
Rise and grind, dude.
Elon Musk knows. Rise and grind.
I love Gary V, dude. He's my fucking idol. God, okay.
Everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but nobody wants to lift this heavy ass weight.
I do it though.
I do it though.
Ronnie Coleman is like an inspiration. I don't want to group him in with the other grifters.
I mean, honestly, he is an inspiration. The man is jacked AF.
He did lift the heavy weight.
That bar was bending. So you know he wasn't pretending.
That is true. Hey, could you explain to me what Ikaruga is, David?
Ikaruga is a top-down bullet hell spaceship game. You have probably played this game before in an arcade. Probably. It is like Gradius is one of the top examples of it. Or what is the other one that's jet planes, fighter planes? Raiden was my favorite. I fucking loved Raiden in every single arcade.
Yes. No, yeah, you're correct. You've seen these kind of games before where you're just a ship and there's a bunch of shit flying at you and you got to shoot it with your ship.
Yes. It's a great game.
Sort of an evolution of Galaga, I guess.
Yeah. It most definitely is. And another great version of it is Radiant Silvergun, which is also made by the same people.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's a very fun genre. Everyone loves the bullet hell ship game. So, you go through and there's typically in these games, it's just you're dodging all these different essentially bullets or missiles. You have to dodge and like shoot the opponents and it takes a while to blow them up, but it's like a one-hit kill if you get hit, essentially. Yep. You have your regular blaster and then you have your missiles normally or some sort of power-up you can get in the levels. But Ikaruga adds a very unique twist in that all of the bullets are either black or white, and then you can change, I think they call it the polarity of your ship to be either black or white. So if your ship is white bullets don't hurt you, but if your ship is black bullets don't hurt you, but white bullets do, and then vice versa. So if the game is constantly sending to you either black or white or both types of bullets at the same time, so you have to be on your toes and be switching your ship's polarity while also firing and trying to actually attack. So it really makes you, because usually the defense in the games is dodging the bullets, but now it adds a second layer and it forces you to engage with this mechanic too. So it's not just like, oh, I don't have to do it. It's like you have to advance with the game.
There's many times where you cannot avoid it. Yeah,
you can't avoid it. You have to do it. But it's great.
Yeah, I agree. Like we can just get into the gushing because I think that's probably hard to avoid at this point. Yeah, like I think that's like seemingly simple twist of like, we're just going to make some things that you can get hit by sometimes and you can switch. Like, it's not that complicated to explain, but like, man, it makes this game different than every other shoot 'em up.
I really feel like the dev team requires a lot of kudos for this game, because this would be really easy to make boring.
Yeah.
But they do a great job of just like from the get-go making this engaging and easy to understand and implement, but then gradually increasing how it's used in its use cases and how you have to engage with it. So I thought that was really, really impressive with this game, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty astounding. Like I didn't know that this was a part of the game. I'm sure I've played Ikaruga before. Like I'm sure I've played it in an arcade or something like that. But I didn't remember that was like such a core part of this game. And it was like, I didn't even know it was there for like a little while I was playing it. I was mostly just shooting. And then at some point, like thought I got hit. And I was like, why didn't I die there? Like, that was weird.
Same.
Like you were saying, there was a couple of sections where I was like, I don't think I could have dodged those. Like, what's the deal there? And then just kind of started messing around with the buttons and flipped the polarity and was like, oh shit, this is like a very different game than I thought it was.
Yep.
Because there's this bizarre experience when you're playing it where in most of these shoot 'em ups, I'm trying to track everything on the screen. Whereas with Ikaruga, there's oftentimes moments where like there's a lot of like white or black bullets coming at you. And if you're in the right polarity, you can kind of just like ignore them for a second. Okay, the screen is completely full of black bullets. I'm going to switch to the black polarity so I can absorb that like those missiles. And I'm just going to like shoot for a little while. And so your brain goes through this like oscillation where it's like, okay, I've got maybe a second or two of not having to worry about the bullets. Now that I see that there's some white ones coming down, I kind of got to like adjust a little bit and like figure out where I need to be in the level so that I can switch without blowing myself up.
Make sure I'm not touching any black bullets when I switch back to white.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And like that's such it was immediately engaging. They make really good use of that where there are sections where it's like just a wall of white bullets coming at you and like you're supposed to fly through that section to like get up past it or whatever. And they'll throw like a couple of black bullets in there. So like you still have to avoid it a little bit, but it's obvious like you still need to be in this like polarity so that you can move through this section.
Yep.
So it's super intelligent with like the level design. You're totally right that it could have been so boring. They could have just like thrown some missiles at you that are both black and white the whole game rather than like playing with, okay, what if all of them are black in this section and then we fire like 2 at you or whatever. It changes from like a shoot 'em up closer to like a puzzle or something like that, which I just really appreciate how quickly it bounces back and forth between that genre and just like actually having to avoid a bunch of bullets. Like it turns from a bullet hell into something else like really quickly. It's pretty astounding. I was like pretty impressed by that. It's good.
Yeah, it just adds one extra layer of thought processing, which really just kind of slows down your brain just enough to really make everything else much more difficult and engaging to deal with. So yeah, it's really interesting what they did here, honestly.
And it's a very bizarre game because I think there's a lot of things that are done that's like kind of ill-typical. I'm pretty sure that this is how it works on all screens, but on mine it was the layout of the screen was like an arcade cabinet. It was like it was portrait. It was portrait mode. And so like
it's portrait mode. Someone recorded this game in portrait mode, the bastard.
Yeah, exactly. And so like it's very bizarre to fire up the game and be like, is this just what it is? Like, are they just going to do this? And I think it's very intentional because the game is so laid out to be able to let you see what's above you all the time, because it's really important in the game to plan like what your next couple of moves are rather than like, you know, you only see a little bit of it. So they probably couldn't switch it over to widescreen without losing a lot of like what made the game good. And so there's that. It mostly functions like an arcade game too. Like you kind of just launch into the game. There's not a lot of like...
There's no exposition. There's no story. No, it's just, you're a spaceship. Go.
There was a plot on the Wikipedia section of this game, and I was like, where did you get this?
I didn't get any of it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. So I don't know where that was coming from.
Got less plot of this than with Elden Ring. That's impressive.
And so like there's a lot of like decisions in there where they just make different design considerations than I think normally would be made for a console game. But the game is like incredible. Like I don't think it really needs to make those consolations in any way for it to be really good.
Yeah.
I was reading that the people who work at Treasure, there's like some interview, I can't remember when this was, but they had essentially said, like, the interview had asked them, how do you compensate for like the newer design trends in video games? Like how are you trying to like balance that with the kinds of games that you want to make? Because a lot of the games, this one included, I'm pretty sure, are self-funded. Like they'll make like a really popular game to sell a bunch of copies and then kind of be like jamming on something underneath the surface for a while. I'm pretty sure Ikaruga was one of those where they just like saved up enough money to be able to do this on their own without having like somebody say you need to make Ronald McDonald the video game,
which they did also.
And what their answer to that question was essentially like we try as hard as we can not to go with wherever the wind is blowing with game design. And I think that's like, it's pretty interesting. You can see that in Ikaruga. Like you can see the fact that like this trend that they're emulating, this kind of like top-down shooter plane game, was like popular in like the mid 90s. Like it was kind of old at this point, right? Like this game came out in America in 2003, probably 2001 or 2 in Japan. You know, like you were saying, Raiden was like kind of an older game. That one came out in 1990. And so it would be like a company in 2022 saying, we're going to put out a 3D platformer collectathon like Banjo-Kazooie. And it's as if Balan Wonderland was actually good.
Oh.
Sorry, Balan.
Dunked on Balan Wonderland. Damn.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to come off so harsh, but like that's That would be what it would be like if it came out this year. And so it's really bizarre for them to put this out, but then they make such an interesting twist on it that it's like, okay, yeah, like that made a lot of sense why you would want to put this out. And so I think by sticking to their guns a little bit and being like, well, we know what we like and we know how to make that really good, let's just put that game out. And it shows. This game is good.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent game. Is Treasure still around?
I don't think so. I think they got rolled into some other company. The last game that they put out was Geist Crusher God. By 2011, the number of employees at Treasure had dropped to 16. In a 2011 interview, Megawa explained that Treasure now uses middleware to develop games, no longer using custom programming to push the hardware to their maximum levels. The company was also putting an increased focus on releasing their back catalogs, downloadable games, blah, blah, blah. Treasure has not released any new games since 2014, apart from re-releases of games like Ikaruga. So it sounds like they're kind of just like not making games anymore.
They're just kind of re-releasing their old stuff.
If doing anything. Like 2014 has been a while, so I sort of doubt that they're like actively developing anything.
Sure.
So it sounds like no. Yeah, they're not not developing stuff right now.
Bummer.
Yeah, no, it is a bummer because like they have a lot of good stuff, and I think a lot of these game types would fit into like an indie game category now, because like
most definitely
Ikaruga is really good, but it's not big. It's not a huge game.
No, it's dense.
It is dense. Like I think a lot of this game was designed around like score chasing and like getting like a high score on any of these levels, and so I think that sort of is the 2003 way of making a game longer. I think if it was released today, you would get a lot of like replayability with different ships or different challenges or like some randomized shit that comes through each time, like different power-ups or anything like that. Make it a roguelike. But a lot of different stuff would probably be implemented today. And I feel like a lot of these things could be released today in just a few tweaks and it would be a hit, you know?
Just make it a Souls-like, roguelike.
I mean, you could, yes, but like you could definitely put out a shmup this year, a shoot 'em up. Shmup. I think that is actually a word. That wasn't a video game Podtimism slip.
Shmup. That's great.
Yeah. You could put this out this year and it would still be pretty good with just a couple of changes here and there. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Yoko Taro has said that he is like really into Ikaruga.
Yoko Taro, you say?
Yoko Taro.
You know, they have different colored beam balls in whatever you want to call them, laser balls in Nier.
Yeah, the projectiles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
They do kind of the same thing in Nier Automata. It's true.
Yeah. I when I was playing through this, I was like, oh, I see where Nier has gotten a lot of the top-down shoot 'em up sort of stuff from.
Yeah, and now thinking back to that first level of Nier Automata.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, that's very Ikaruga. And then he makes it third person Ikaruga as well, with a lot of those battles with 2B.
Yeah, where you're like having to like deal with multiple shoot 'em ups and shit like that, or projectiles rather.
Yep.
Yeah.
And some hurt you and some don't.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you can really see the DNA that this game has left on a couple of game designers, and Yoko Taro is, I think, the most direct line. I played this game early in the year. I don't remember if I talked about it at all. What was it called?
You played this game?
Different game, sorry. I played this game called Record of Lodos War D-Lit in Wonder Labyrinth.
What the shit is that name?
It's the most video game name of all time. This came out on the Switch earlier this year. It's been out for like a couple of...
Is it the Yoko Taro one?
No. That was I think it was Voice of the Cards or whatever. This was a like Castlevania-like game. Apparently there's a lot of these games in this series, but I had only heard of this one. And it had a really similar mechanic of there were blue colored attacks and orange colored attacks in the game. And you could at any moment like switch between which one your like affinity is with. Almost exactly the same thing, where if you run into projectiles that are blue or orange while you're the same color, like you absorb that. And when I was playing through this game, I was like, oh, that's really novel. That's really interesting. Like, haven't seen a lot of games like that. And then lo and behold, Ikaruga's doing it back in 2003.
Yeah. 2003. Damn.
Yeah, dude. This is a nearly 20-year-old idea that they were probably pulling from.
It's a big game changer, honestly.
Yeah, it's like, again, I can't overstate enough how much the simple change of being able to absorb projectiles sometimes is. Like we were saying with Blinks, where they flipped the script on you shouldn't collect everything.
This one did it in a good way. Like sometimes you can get hit by something and it's fine.
And it's good. In fact, you charge up power for your like big blast that you can use every now and then. And so like it's really interesting when games, I think, explicitly take conventions and play with them like this. Of like in every other game in this genre, you do not want to get hit. And they're like, well, maybe what if did get hit?
Exactly.
So that's cool. I like that.
And they do it in such a nice, interesting way. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's very good.
I also loved how when you beat bosses, it goes into slow-mo.
Very good. Yeah, nice little touch there.
I always love a good slow-mo explosion, and I can still kind of control my character and like zoom around. It always makes me laugh. I'm like, yes, this is why I play games. It feels like Top Gun.
It's like the end of a Kingdom Hearts boss battle whenever you like slash through them at the very last minute and you're still kind of doing your move
and
a little bit.
like that sling.
Yeah. It like slows down. Yeah. That or there's a bunch of games that do that. I feel like that move.
I can't think of it. Kingdom Hearts is the only thing I'm thinking of now.
I've never played a single video game. Is you kind of get that in Smash a little bit when like you beat the last person. There's like a couple of seconds.
You're still going through your animation.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do a little taunt if you want.
Yeah.
Zooms in on you. Fucking Donkey Kong. Don't you do it? Don't you do it in real life?
Yeah, I thought this game was good. I have like genuinely not very much to say as waves. As far as like things that I thought could be a little bit better, I don't have very much.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is like you could crisp up the graphics a little bit, make it widescreen. That's quality of life as opposed to like a game design choice. But I mean, the game's awesome. It's a really great game. Yeah, like and even the like aspect ratio stuff, I get why they did it the way they did it. Yeah, it was an arcade game. It's an arcade game. So I agree. Like most of it's tangential and most of it is like, how would a game get released this year rather than like what this game was doing, what they intended to do at the moment. And I feel like the intent that they had at, in 2003, they totally fucking nailed it. Like slam dunk on this one. I think this game is really, really good. Yeah, it's quite fun. It's quite fun. Love it. Good job.
Easy game to talk about.
Yeah, this was much better than Blinks.
Sorry, Blinks.
Sorry,
Blinks.
I want to collect everything, Blinks. Come on.
Please, let me. Hell yeah, Ikaruga.
Hell yeah, Ikaruga.
Hello, Podtimists. And David, hello. If you would like, if you would like to talk to us, you can do so on Twitter. That's one of the places. We're at Podtimism. If you want to say what's up.
What's up?
And you can also email us, podtimism@gmail.com.
Old school communication.
Snail mail. The World Wide Web snail mail. Surfing the web. www.podtimism.netscape.
Are you trying to be a technological boomer right now? An e-boomer?
I'm trying to sound like a commercial for the internet in the 90s.
Okay. Good job.
Let me just say a few more things here. Let's see. The World Wide Web. Log on.
Log on to it.
Check your email.
You've got mail online.
You've got video games.
Oh, you've got video games. There you go. That's playing at the beginning of every podcast now.
You've got video games. Wow. Yeah, that would be a real
And
throwback.
then just the Mario coin sound effect.
We're going to sound like every video game podcast. Like there's going to be an event horizon where every video game podcast does the same thing, and that's the thing.
And then they all implode.
Yeah, we converge into one podcast.
One podcast and one podcaster with thousands of different voices named Chet.
Oh, wow.
This is the origin of Chet the Rat.
Yeah, he's speaking through us.
Terrifying.
Let me see. If you want to help out the show, there are a few things you can do. One of them is leaving a review on your podcast catcher of choice. Such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Saw a few of those come through. Couple of numbered ratings. Thanks for that. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Another thing you can do is show a friend the podcast and say, hey, I like this one. Also saw some people doing that recently. Thanks for that too. It's very helpful. That is a very helpful way to get the word out about Podtimism. It's out there floating around. A couple other things. One, Scout. Hope I presume you've just said yes. Thanks for the work that you've done.
Yeah, thank you.
In our podcast art. Scout Wilkinson, if you want to commission her to do some cool art for you, number one, you got to wait for when those commissions are open. Number two, to find out about that, you can go to ko-fi.com/humblegoat and go check out all of her wonderful wares. It's like walking into a bazaar full of art.
Scouts, wonderful wares.
Ooh,
Step
really
right
good.
in.
Just playing the bazaar music from Zelda. So thank you for your hard work on that, Scout. Also, thank you, listener, for participating in this week's podcast in the way that you know how, which is listening to it. We appreciate you doing that because there's a million podcasts you could listen to, and you chose to do this one.
You sure did. Thank you.
Thanks for doing that. It means a lot to us. Quite earnestly. That is not me blowing smoke up your controller. That is
we're just a couple of chuds who are just so thrilled that other people like to hear us talk about these things,
or at least tolerate it enough to listen to it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very deeply. It means a lot. So yeah, Dave, do you have any gaming wisdom for us this week?
I do.
What is it?
People change throughout their lives, right?
Yeah.
Things that you used to like, maybe you like, and maybe things you used to like, you don't like anymore.
Yeah.
So it's good to let the things that you used to like be things you like anymore, and for things that you used to not like, give you strength and vigor now.
Yeah.
It's just the natural way of things.
Yeah.
Nothing is good or bad. It just depends on your state.
Sure. Yeah. Love that.
Except Nazism and being a general dick.
Yeah.
That's never good.
Yeah.
But
it's all
you know what I'm saying.
Always bad.
You know what I'm saying. It's Ikaruga.
It's Ikaruga. It's Divinity. It's everything.
Yeah. People change. What you like changes. What's good for you changes.
Revisit some media, why don't you?
I'm 30 now. I really shouldn't eat that much pizza anymore.
David, I always got to eat that pizza. I don't care about the
I
age.
set this one up for you, Chase. I knew you were going to have some thoughts on this.
Come on. You know I'm going to crush the za, David.
I'm just saying I take fish oil supplements now.
Oh, yeah. No, me, absolutely. Yeah. No, my doctor's like, listen, dude, if you're going to keep fucking eating the way you are, got to bring the cholesterol down. I said, fine. I'll take some fish oil pills. I'll do what you need me to do.
Peez-us, Peez-us.
Easus, Peez-us. I can take those. David,
Peez-us, Peez-us. Give me the cheeses.
Nothing else I can say is going to top that. We have to end now.
That's what Chase said, and then put his sunglasses on and moonwalked out of the
with a slice of pizza in my hand.
The doctor's office with a slice of pizza in his hand.
Easus Peez-us.
To meet Charles Entertainment Cheese and his buddies in his convertible red car in the parking lot, driving away, listening to Wake Me Up Before You Go.
Wow, Evanescence. Was not expecting that.
No, not Evanescence. Wake Me Up Before You Go.
Oh, yeah, I thought we were hitting the like mid 2000s.
No, you're close.
For a second.
That's Wake Me Up Inside.
Yeah,
this is just Wake Me Up Before You Go.
I think the Little Caesars man, who is definitely in the car with us, is really into Evanescence. I love that.
He's changing it to Evanescence. He's like, this song gets me on the inside.
Guys, give me the aux. I got some heat. I just discovered this new band.
Jesus, Peez-us, give me the Jesus.
Goodbye. Good night. Goodbye.
See ya.